In the heart of an ancient forest, far from the prying eyes of civilization, lay the enchanted village. This place was shrouded in mystery, its name whispered only in the most secretive of circles. The village had stood for centuries, its origins lost to time, and its inhabitants were said to possess otherworldly powers. One stormy night, a weary traveler named Ethan stumbled upon the village. He had been wandering the forest for days, lost and desperate for shelter. The village seemed like a haven, its quaint cottages and warm lights promising refuge from the howling wind and torrential rain. Ethan was greeted by an elderly woman who introduced herself as Agatha. She welcomed him into her home, offering food and a place to rest. As Ethan ate, he noticed strange symbols carved into the walls and peculiar artifacts scattered around the room. When he asked Agatha about them, she simply smiled and said they were protection charms. Despite her kindness, Ethan felt an uneasy presence in the village. The air was thick with an invisible tension, and the villagers' eyes seemed to follow him wherever he went. As night fell, he found himself unable to sleep, haunted by the eerie silence and the sense of being watched. At midnight, Ethan was jolted awake by a chilling scream. He rushed outside to find the villagers gathered around a large oak tree in the center of the village. In the tree's gnarled branches, a spectral figure hovered, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. The villagers chanted in unison, their voices low and melodic, as if performing some ancient ritual. Agatha appeared beside Ethan, her expression grave. "You should not have come here," she whispered. "This village is cursed. Every night, the spirit of the forest demands a sacrifice to maintain the enchantment that protects us from the outside world." Before Ethan could react, the spirit's eyes fixed on him, and he felt an icy grip on his heart. The villagers closed in, their chanting growing louder. Ethan realized too late that he was the night's chosen offering. As the spirit descended upon him, his screams were swallowed by the darkness, leaving the village in an unsettling silence once more. The next morning, the villagers went about their daily routines as if nothing had happened. The only trace of Ethan was a new carving on Agatha's wall, a protection charm made with his blood. The enchanted village remained hidden in the forest, its dark secret safe for another day, waiting for the next unfortunate soul to stumble upon it. Years passed, and the enchanted village continued its eerie routine, accepting travelers into its fold and sacrificing them to the malevolent spirit that guarded their secret. The villagers had grown accustomed to the cycle, their fear numbed by the familiarity of the ritual. However, whispers of the village's existence began to spread beyond the forest, carried by the few who managed to escape its borders, though they were always half-mad with terror. One day, a woman named Lydia arrived at the edge of the ancient forest. Unlike the previous travelers, Lydia was no lost wanderer. She was a determined investigator, driven by the mysterious disappearance of her brother, Ethan. She had scoured countless old maps and spoken to numerous reclusive hermits, piecing together the fragmented stories of the enchanted village. Her journey had been long and perilous, but she was resolute in her mission. As Lydia ventured deeper into the forest, she felt an uncanny presence, as if the trees themselves were watching her. She finally arrived at the village just as dusk settled, casting long shadows over the cobblestone paths. The villagers greeted her with the same deceptive warmth they had shown Ethan, but Lydia sensed their underlying unease. Agatha, now frilier with age but no less perceptive, welcomed Lydia into her home. As they shared a modest meal, Lydia carefully observed the symbols on the walls and the artifacts scattered around the room. She recognized some of the symbols from her research, ancient runes meant for protection and control. That night, Lydia pretended to sleep while keeping a watchful eye on her surroundings. When midnight approached, she heard the familiar chanting and a chill ran down her spine. She followed the sounds to the large oak tree, where the spectral figure appeared once more, its eyes blazing with unnatural light. Lydia stepped forward, her heart pounding. "I know what you are," she said, her voice steady, "and I know what you want." The spirit turned its malevolent gaze upon her, intrigued by her defiance. Lydia reached into her bag and pulled out a small, intricately carved amulet. She had discovered it in her research, a relic said to bind malevolent spirits.